Hi, today we're going to talk about what holds us back from feeling and being more confident. And more importantly, what can you do about it? This is the second in a series of videos. In the last video, when we talked about confidence, you got one quick tip that you could use right away to sound more confident, which is to stop saying, I'm sorry. Instead, replace it with thank you. So for example, if you're 2 minutes late for a meeting, instead of saying, I'm so sorry, just say, thank you for waiting. Or don't say anything at all. Hi, I'm Laura Brown. I'm the author of 10 books. I'm a Forbes contributor. I'm a corporate trainer and coach. And I've taught women to look, sound, and feel more confident for many years through training and coaching with my company, Career Tips for Women. First, I want to tell you that there is a good reason that you may feel nervous and not confident. And it has to do with our brains, the way our brains are wired. And our brains are wired to protect us and to tell us not to do things that would take us out of the comfort zone. Now, that was great when we lived in caves and there were saber-toothed tigers outside that might eat us. But the problem is it's not so great now. Sometimes the way our brains are wired stops us from doing things that seem a little uncomfortable. And our brain is saying, no, don't do that. Stay safe. Well, staying safe is not always the best thing for us, so it can cause us problems. The good news is there's something you can do about it, but the reason I mention it is when you're nervous and when you're feeling like I shouldn't step out of my comfort zone, I want to let you know that it's nothing to do with you. There's a reason for it, that it's all about your brain wiring. So let's talk about what you can do differently, how you can choose to deal with the fears that are stopping you from moving forward. Now, I know that when we talk about fear, some people say, feel the fear and do it anyway. And I got to tell you, that makes me a little uncomfortable. So instead, what I say is feel the fear, reduce the fear, and then do it. So I'm all about reducing fears. So let me give you a 4-step method that you can use. It's very practical to help you to reduce the fear so you can start to feel more confident. So number 1, name it. So a lot of times things are swirling around in your head and you can't even really focus on it. You just have this sort of general fear or distraction. So name it. Really think about what is it exactly that's bothering you. Write it down and focus on what's the main thing here. Then number 2, break it. So a lot of times, when we think about our fear, it just seems so big and so overwhelming. But when we break it down into smaller pieces, into smaller chunks, they can be more manageable. So slice off the things that are not that important and then really see what you're left with. Number 3, question it. So when you think about your fears, how realistic is it? Are there any facts or information to support it? Or I hate to say it, are you just making some of this stuff up? Number 4, replace it. What could you think instead that would make you feel less nervous or even more excited about this? Now, let me tell you how I used this with a client that I was coaching. She wasn't confident with some things that were going on at work, and she was feeling really nervous about things. And so what we did is we went through this 4-step process. So the first thing she did is she named it. So when I asked her to think about what was really going on and what was really bothering her, it came down to the fact that she was afraid she would lose her job. I mean, it took a couple of minutes to get there because most of us don't really immediately go to that. But bottom line is, but what if I lose my job? So then what we decided to do is break it down. So she broke the fear into smaller parts. For example, she realized she was afraid that her boss might think that she wasn't doing a good job on this project, or maybe some other project she was working on, or her boss might get mad at her, or boss might not like her. So there were a whole bunch of things that she could work on. We decided to work on the most important. Then she questioned it. So we discussed, were there any real reasons that her boss could be mad at her? Were there any facts? And she admitted, no, there really weren't. As a matter of fact, when she thought about what had recently happened, her boss had actually recently told her she was doing a great job. So when she looked at the facts and the clues and all the information she had, she realized that worrying about this wasn't really realistic. Then number 4, replace it. So first, she replaced it with the thought, they're not going to fire me. Well, that was a little more positive, but it still wasn't really positive. So we worked it through a little bit more, and she replaced that initial thought about being worried about her boss and worried about her job with, my boss appreciates my work and thinks I'm doing a good job. So that's a great example about how you can go through the 4 steps and really break down your fear and do something about it. Because then when you're able to do that, you're able to feel more confident because you're not so worried about things. So in the next video, I'm going to share a different idea. I'm going to share what another student learned and how she used that to sound more confident, and how you can use this technique when you ask for something. So I want to make sure you see the next video. Click below and you'll be one of the first to get it. And you'll also get the 4-step quick tip list to help you to understand how to break down those fears. So I'm curious, what do you think? So have you been able to break down fears? What ideas do you have, or what have you seen other people do? So go ahead and leave your comments and questions below. Thank you so much for watching today, and I look forward to sharing future videos with you. Bye.